Welcome to Lesson 7, Using Patterns. In this video, I'm going to provide you some helpful tips and tricks to help you do the lessons in Lesson 7. So first of all, you should be starting with the pattern_start file that's in your AI07 lessons folder. And if you select this jacket, you'll notice that there is also a bounding box. Now, in the lesson, we have you use live color to fill things. In this case, I'm just going to have you create regular old fills. So I'm selecting the direct selection tool and I'm clicking on this background. This was a traced image and I don't really want that in there. I am then taking my solid selection tool and clicking on this jacket. Now these are actually separate groups of items, but I'm going to apply a pattern to all of this at once. Now if I go to my swatches panel, you'll see that there are some existing patterns. That looks really nice. That's a gradient. There's a pattern, some really nice ones, but we've got a better one. So you'll notice that I have a pattern sitting right over here. I can grab this pattern and just drag and drop it right into the swatches panel. Now if I select this item, I can apply my own pattern. Now you don't have to have your own perfect pattern in order to use this. Notice that I can just take a bunch of circles or whatever shapes I want or whatever item I want to be a pattern. Make sure it doesn't have a pattern in it and drag that in to make a pattern as well. If I click on this item, I can apply those dots all over the place. Here's the thing that you want to understand. There is a bounding box that's automatically being created when I drag these items in. Think of the bounding box almost like a tile on a wall, and it's repeating over and over again. If you want to adjust that tile, you can actually make a square yourself. And so you'll notice that in here, maybe I want to space these out a bit more. I can make a big rectangle, make sure it has no fill, no stroke. It helps to put it behind everything else. Object arrange, send to the back. And now I'll select all these items, including that new bounding box I made. And instead of just dragging it into the swatches panel to make a new swatch, I am going to hold down my Alt or Option key and drag it on top of the existing one, which means that I am going to replace that. And you'll see that now I have this really big, let me go ahead and apply a black stroke, this really big repeat because of that big rectangle I had put in there. So that's how patterns work, and that's how creative it is. You can make your own. And since the last version, there have been some exceptional tools to help you do a better job. So let's go back to making this pattern fill the checkers. And next, what I want to do is maybe take my group selection tool, because I only want to select the arm, and I want to rotate that a bit. Now, if I double click on the rotate tool, you'll see that you can choose to rotate just the pattern or the object. Now I prefer to not use this, cancel, and actually go to my rotate tool and hold my tilde key down. Now the tilde is right under your escape key usually, the ESC key, and I'm just going to type it here so you can see what it looks like. This is your tilde key. I'll make that a little bit bigger, that guy. So I'll go back with my quick selection tool, I'll select this sleeve, I'll select the rotate tool, I'll hold down the tilde and I'll just click and drag. And you'll notice that by holding down the tilde, when I do that, I'm only choosing to change the angle of the pattern, not the entire sleeve. So I'm going to hold down my Control or Command key and select this other sleeve and maybe do the same thing. Hold down the tilde and rotate this in a little bit. You can even use this for scaling. So if I have this pattern in and it's a little too big, but I don't want to scale everything else, maybe I just want to do some fashion crazy thing, like give him a smaller pattern in his collar, I can click on that. I can go to my scale tool, hold down my tilde, and scale that in, and you'll notice that it's only scaling the pattern that's in that selected shape. Now let's work with other variations of this pattern. Notice that I can select what we're using to create the pattern, and then I can also go to the pattern options panel. And if I come in here, I can select my swatch, I can say I'm creating a variation of this. Checked 2. And I can double click on the swatch preview to open up the pattern editor. And you'll notice that in here I can save a copy, I can edit it, so I can come in and I can actually change the items in my pattern and see how it's going to affect the repeat. So moving items around, maybe I want to zoom in a little bit, but I'm in an editor right now. I am not actually changing my illustration. I'm in an editor that's showing me how the repeat is going to look. Now, I can also come in here and choose different repeats because maybe I want a houndstooth look or brick by column, hex column, or even hex by row. I'm going to go back by brick by column. I can save a copy so that I don't overwrite my other one. Checked 3. It's been added to my swatches. And then, of course, I can exit by clicking on the arrow, and you can see it's been applied, and it even kept my same transformations to this new item. So in this lesson, you got a review on how to use patterns in Adobe Illustrator.